Party animals, like and subscribe if you want your tight end to make catches like this.
Tyler Eifert! Are you kidding me?
Yesterday we got to of how you can come up with, randomness for each player if that's the route you want to go. We talked about ballparking these numbers. Are they effective? Maybe, maybe not. We talked about how some of the higher projected guys have really good or really high randomness settings or variance or whatever, range of outcomes. And Brandon, I think, messaged me with a good point, right? And essentially, if we had, and think about this for a second, if we had the most accurate projections on planet Earth, we essentially wouldn't want any randomness at all. We'd just run a train of the very best lineups altogether, right? So you'd literally have zero range of outcomes, zero standard deviation. It'd just be one lineup over and over and over because we are 100% accurate. But because we're not accurate, we have to account for different ranges of outcomes for different players. And when you add a lot of players, it's going to be a lot of different projections, right? Brian, man, thank you so much for the 100, dude. Much love, man. So it's really tough to just say this is what we're gonna do, period, right? In whatever the last caching score is still the same money. I kind of just let the field make the mistakes, and I am just sitting there trying to make the very best lineups, but I don't want to account for very many ranges of outcomes. I don't want to have a lot of randomness. Essentially, I want guys with very low standard deviation or low randomness or low variance where I could project very accurately, and that way I could project a lineup that can place in the top 50%, and I'll make my money every time, right? That's what you would like to do for cash games. Now, going to GPPs where two factors come into play, it's not 50% caching, it's not double your money. It's, say 20% caching, and to double your money, you really need to be in like the top 8% or something ridiculous, top 10%. Then you have to account for many ranges of outcomes because you want to get to that level, right? And it's very difficult to get there. So that's where we started coming up with the whole randomness thing, where to set everyone. And that's kind of where we left off yesterday. So today, I kind of want to explain how using this whole field here, and I'll get to you in just a sec, Swag Lord, I saw you, man. Using all of this that we learned or kind of talked about yesterday is essential depending on your game type. And I think people are getting a little bit carried away because sometimes what we talk about on this stream is just, oh, Manny and Mav and Wunsta and Pet and whoever, they talked about it, so it must be good, and I'm going to use it even if you're playing like a 3-man or even if you're playing like a double up or a 50-50, and that's just wrong, right? That's obviously wrong. So it's one of those, if they're talking about it, it must be good type of thing, but like, you don't even know what any of this means. You don't know what any of this does. You don't know really how it all works, but that must be what Osmo does. Exactly, Dave. Osmo must be using something like this, right? Swag Lord, thank you for that 1,000, man. Manny is sexy. Ooh, baby. I know, I could feel the love through the computer, man. I could feel the love through this monitor, Much love, dude. So we talked about this yesterday, and you saw this. This is exactly what we saw yesterday. You guys were enamored with this. I think a lot of you went to this page and just started typing in a bunch of numbers in here and just started going ham. This looks fantastic. I'm gonna start messing with this. And you go to actual FC and you start making lineups and you put a random number everywhere. And I got as many DMs as I got that said, dude, it's fantastic. You guys are geniuses. You guys are whatever. I also got a couple that said, I tried the whole randomness thing yesterday. ... LOL. That's exactly what the message read. And I was like, well, who the heck told all of you to actually do this if you have no idea what it means? You know what I mean? And then I ask, and I'm like, I'm the helpful type, so I'm like, okay, well, let's figure this out, man. What were your scores like yesterday? Well, I joined the $25 double up, and I'm like, stop. What are you doing? You know what I mean? And it's like, but like, I guess I have to say this in every stream, but you shouldn't be using, a 30% randomness in double ups, or there's no need for that. The contest does not favor that whatsoever, right? You're not aiming for first, because first gets you the same place as 150th. That doesn't matter. It does not matter. I don't know why you would do that. First of all, for everyone that complains about trains and cash games, that is what you should be doing anyway. You should not be diversifying your 100 cash game lineups with randomness and have 100. Like, that is the total opposite of what you should be doing. Literally, you're on the opposite end of the spectrum, right? So they saw us go over this yesterday, and they did that. So for the few guys in here that are somehow, trying this in cash games, you guys are great, but that's not what you should be doing.